peace with think fast. Basically, all a prophet is are these people who we, you know, in some cases, in some religions and spiritual practices, some of us worship these figures. Some of us just give thanks for these figures. Some of these, some of us see it for how it is, and know that these people were like, or these beings were like examples of the way, we should live our lives in that sense. But like when you think of the Christ figures, the Haile Selassie, Yeshua, some people know him as Jesus, even though the letter J didn't exist. Like who else? Quetzalcoatl, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, Heru or Horus, or Jason within the Greek mythology. All these different things are basically embodiment of the Christ consciousness. But long story short, that's what I was gonna say. Like they're basically people who say, "Hey, let me show you how it's done." So basically, with us worshiping these people, it's almost like, all right, let me show you how it's done. Let me show you how to tie your shoe. And that person show you how you tie your shoe. And all of a sudden you like, oh my goodness, I worship so-and-so who taught me how to tie my shoe. You are the greatest shoe tie ever. And don't get it twisted. Ain't nothing wrong with, with having a certain reverence for these people, you know what I'm saying? Because again, it's a blessing to have somebody to show you how to do things, in a certain walk of life, or especially when they're great at what they do, and they allow for whether they give you a personal example or whether you could look at their life and learn from it. But it's always good to give reverence for that. But at the same time, just don't forget that you have this same ability. You are that same person. Ye are gods. Ye are, we are everything in the universe. So if Selassie or Yeshua or Muhammad or, in which a lot of these figures, some of them I named, except for Haile Selassie, a real person that we know for sure. But, another of these other beings, is just personifications of the Christ consciousness. But even within the story, there's someone who walked in that certain type of light on earth. And again, it's just an example. Again, somebody showed me how to tie my shoes, or somebody, teach me how to work on my jumper. And then I'm like, I start shooting good, and it's like, oh man, I worship them. In which we kind of get into these places with sports too. Like, it's like a certain person good at a certain ability, we are falling to damn near worshiping them. But that's too because we're taught to be dogmatic with our spiritual practices, or the way we carry ourselves in general. When somebody is good or shows us something or things of this nature, it's like you gotta worship, and it's like, nah, that person is a reflection of you. If anything, just be more like that person. You don't have to worship them, because worshiping that person doesn't make you like them. Remember that, because think about what they were doing. They weren't necessarily worshiping anything. They paint the picture of them over worshiping some god or deity or the Most High, but in all actuality, they were just, how can I say, not so much worshiping as much as knowing that they were connected to Source, So that's why in stories of Yeshua is always like, giving thanks to God and being one with God, but it never was like a over worshiping vibe. It was more like, hey, I'm a live, since I am the son of God, I'm gonna show y'all how to live in that manner. It's not, hey, I'm gonna show y'all how to worship. It wasn't about, let me show y'all how to worship. If that's the case, then yeah, then they came to show us how to worship, then let's worship like they taught us. But no, they came down here to show you, hey, if anything, you shouldn't worship me as much as you should be like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, take on some of my spiritual practices, And again, giving thanks and reverence to the Most High was within their practice, but they also, like, say, with Buddha, realizing the enlightenment, like, I am walking enlightenment. Like, it's not nothing outside of me that I'm looking for. It's all within me, And that's the main thing. Even down to Selassie telling, you know, some of the Rasta brethren to like, you know, don't worship me, you know, like I'm, and of course, you know, we're all gonna be humble from that place. But again, that's what comes with the territory. Like, man, you know, don't worship me. You know, if anything, you know, I appreciate it, but you know, like you could do this too. You know, like basically, you know, again, coming down here to show us how it's done. You know, that's it. So you know, as much as I appreciate the person that showed me how to tie my shoes, as much as I appreciate, you know, the person that you know, taught me a particular skill set, you know, I don't necessarily you know, worship them. Because even with an altar, you're not worshiping as much as you are again giving reverence, giving thanks and praise. And it's also, with dealing with an altar, is also a knowledge of knowing that you are dealing with energies that are within you, you know. And being, and it's a paradoxical situation, because yeah, it's like, well, hold on, I'm in a human body, I'm human and I'm everything, so how Oshun is Oshun and Obatala is Obatala and Metatron is Metatron, and this is, you know, again, we are the embodiment of all that in the physical form, and we just been in sleep mode and human mode for so long that, you know, we tend to not, you know how to deal with these certain energies within us, or we've been taught dogmatic ways and ways to get us away from knowing this, you know, for so long, and we've been taught it so much that, you know, when it comes to realizing, you know, the paradox of the universe of where, like, yeah, we give thanks to these deities, but they also in us, and you're not like really worshiping them as much as you're giving reverence and acknowledging that they are interconnected and one with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause one of my things too, like when I first got into, you know, that's why, like, now I don't deal with no dogmatism. So like when people ask me, "Are you a Rasta?" You know, I'm like, nah, you know, it's part of my path, you know, and it's in my DNA, of course. Like, if some type of religion or some type of spirituality, you know, or some type of way of being spiritual resonates with you heavily, then you reincarnated, you know, within that bloodline either multiple times, or, you know, or the fact that it's just within your, but like you're from that star tribe that you know, that deals with that spirituality on a human level, you know. But I tell people, you know, like as a part of my you know, my DNA heritage, my DNA ancestry, you know, I lived in Jamaica, Ethiopia, you know, in some lifetimes or so, but for the most part, it was a part of my growth on this, in this lifetime on the physical level. You know, it's just something that resonated with me, you know, and it still resonates with me, but just I don't call myself a Rasta, and I don't, and what I was getting to too, and I don't worship Haile Selassie like some of the brethren, you know, worship, you know, Selassie like he's God itself, you know. And it's like, nah, I mean, for the fact that you missing the whole feminine factor that came before any masculine energy, you know, in the first place, with most religions, you know what I'm saying? So you could kind of scratch out the dogmatism of most religions right there, where it's like the woman don't exist. You know, much love and respect to Selassie, but I never, I don't know if he could spit out babies, or, you know, like the universe, you know what I'm saying? The darkness of the womb. Like, I don't know if, you know, these different beings in their masculine, you know, format was able to birth things in the manner of, like, you know, the feminine aspect of source, you know, that primordial beginning in essence. And when we say that, it's just the fact that the feminine nature is what, you know, started first in essence. Again, as above, so below. We look at ourselves, a man, you have nipples. You know why you got nipples? Because you started off as a female. Every being, you know, because either you male or female. So male, all males, you started out, excuse me, as a female. That's why you got nipples. Females, hey, you stayed a part of, you know, you stayed with the program, so to speak. But, you know, it's just definitely something to realize, you know, that these people just showing us how it's done. You know, they swept their porch, so you could see what a clean porch look like. You know, I always use the analogy where, you know, on our spiritual walk, it's not about sweeping other people's porches, but it's about, you know, sweeping your own porch. Because while you sweeping somebody else's porch, your porch is getting dirty. You know, and so it's about sweeping your porch. Because once you sweep your porch, then somebody like, oh man, I really like how clean so and so porch is. You know, you can inspire somebody to clean their porch. You know. Matter of fact, is also too dealing to the same subject, not waiting for no person that you worship or no prophet to come and save you. You know what I'm saying? Your porch getting dirty. Your porch dirty because you sitting back like, yeah, man, I'm just chilling. You know, Christ gonna come through and clean my porch for me. Muhammad gonna come and clean my porch for me. Buddha gonna come and clean my porch for me. Krishna gonna come and clean my porch for me. Horus gonna, you know, Selassie gonna, like, nah, you gotta clean your own porch. It was just message. I'm just here as a message showing you how it's done, you know. I think to Selassie is a perfect example of how to embody Christ consciousness and have a dictatorship. I'm saying dictatorship, but like, he had the ability to be able to say, hey, I want everybody to walk on their hands, and, you know, basically he had the ability to be like Kim Jong-il in essence. You know, matter of fact, that show you the the opposite side of that spectrum and how to you know, deal with ruling being like a you know, person governing a certain area. You know, but Selassie displayed the Christ consciousness of that energy. You know what I'm saying? From a leadership position. You know, because when you think of any leader across the world, you know, can't think of nobody that had that position. And two, it's more that go into it. And that's the thing too, where it's certain things that line up to say, oh yeah, there's a special energy to this being or to this person, but not in the manner of you know, worshiping. And to each his own. You know, we all got our different spiritual walks and practices and the way we feel we should do things. So if you feel like you should worship a certain person, and that's what you should do. You know, if that's what you're feeling from your heart. You know, that don't resonate in my heart with me, so I don't practice in that manner. You know. You know, I don't practice in that manner. Again, it's just more about learning from the example. But that's basically it. You know, they were just showing us how it's done. You know, being the example that you want to see. You know, and it's like walking Wi-Fi. You be the change you want to see. And things around you start to change as well. But peace. Happy now, of course. Not too far in the future.